YouTube, guess who forgot to unmute his microphone? HeirofCarthage. That's me, the guy who didn't unmute his microphone again. Anyway, I've got another Star Wars video for you. Pretty excited about it. This campaign's been a lot of fun. I really wish they would make a new version of this game, or an HD remake of this game, or just anything. That would be pretty slick. This game was a lot of fun. It really was. Definitely had some flaws. Definitely had some things that could have been improved upon, but it was a fun game. And it had pretty big modding support, too, from what I've seen. The Republic at War mod, I went and watched some videos about it. It's pretty neat. The Thrawn's Revenge mod was interesting. Though I think the Thrawn's Revenge mod might have put like a few too many lasers on the screen. Like, it seemed like it was a little bit overkill. Like, don't get me wrong, I like me a lot of lasers on the screen, but it definitely seemed like it was overkill. I mean, the only thing you could see on the Super Star Destroyer was like hard points. It was like literally 1,000 lasers on it. Probably more true to the quote-unquote real life of Star Wars, quote-unquote fictional universe of Star Wars, I should say, but definitely a little bit insane. Anyway, it looks like fun, though. I mean, there's still lots of cool stuff in the mods, so definitely something worth checking out. Now, the Republic at War mod obviously takes this into the Clone Wars era. Some of you have asked me, will I visit those mods in this game? Possibly. It's just going to depend on what we feel like we have time for. Now, there was a Star Wars mod that was actually made for Homeworld 2. It's out there on Steam. You can get it. It's not really very completed. I was hoping that, and it's for the Homeworld 2 original, not the Homeworld 2 remastered. I was hoping someone would come back and revisit that one and give it updated HD textures and all that stuff, and that would be pretty cool to see Star Wars ships in the Homeworld engine. Now, that would be pretty slick. There's also a Halo mod for the original Halo 2, which is pretty cool, like you do Halo space battles against the Covenant. Also pretty neat. I was hoping someone would visit that one in HD. They may have. It's been a while since I've touched Homeworld 2. Somebody asked me, Eric, how come you haven't finished Homeworld 2? I need to. I guess I just got busy on Star Wars and other stuff, and I kind of just forgot about it. But I can potentially come back to it. Anyway, we've got some things we need to do here. You're seeing me kind of coming in and out of pause, just trying to get some things ready. I'm trying to put together like a few troops that can serve as a very small secondary army, so that I have one main land army and one secondary one that I can use to maybe retake planets when the rebels come over and screw me over. So that's why I'm, taking these troops here off of Felucia, and I'm going to try and put together kind of like a secondary army. I get attacked at Kashyyyk, and I only have a level 1 space station. There's no way I'm really going to be able to win this, and I don't want you all to have to sit around and get annoyed and watch it. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to just kind of give up on it and let the rebels take it. And that's just about the only thing that I can do at the moment. See, that's why I'm kind of like staring around here like, well, what can I do if I give it to him? And it looks like I have options. I can put together a few Star Destroyers from random places. I've actually got Star Destroyers coming up at Mon Calamari now also. I can also train them over at Kuralag, or whatever that one is, or Sullust. Maybe it's Sullust. Yeah, I think it is Sullust. So I can train them in several places, and I am. So we're going to have lots of Star Destroyers cranking out over time. Looks like we're going to get attacked space battle at Jabim, and that's actually just my army that's there. So I'm going to have to begin this and then take the transport shuttles and flee away from the rebel spacecraft, and I'll probably lose a few transport shuttles, unfortunately. I don't have any AT-ATs up here in shuttles, fortunately for me. But yeah, it's going to be a frustration point for me. I come in here, and yeah, I'm not going to skip ahead. I'll just let it watch. I was thinking maybe I could skip ahead, but I'll let you all watch. Basically, you got to run away with these guys, and then you have to wait until you can. Retreat from the battle. But yeah, I'm only going to have like a couple of TIE fighters and one bomber. I mean, even if I could beat back the rebels here, it's probably not going to be worth watching. I don't think I could. So I decided to just go ahead and flee. Because the rebels are getting close to all my shuttles, and I know I need to just get out of here. So I'm going to go ahead and retreat from the battle. You have to wait for the retreat countdown, and the rebels, of course, come in, and they're going to pop a few of my transports. They're just like, piece of crap. So they're over there shooting my shuttles. I think they end up getting 3 of them before I get out, so they killed a few units, and you're going to see those up in the lost screen there. Kerblamo! There goes my space station. I have to come back and avenge myself there too. The rebels have been pretty good. They haven't even gotten that good at building capital ships. I haven't seen any Mon Cal cruisers. I haven't seen any Mon Cal frigates. So I don't know what's the deal with the rebels on this one. Normally they rank up and they start throwing Mon Cal frigates at you like crazy. But they have been good about sending little navies and little armies after me and just irritating me, which is kind of fun because it's kind of like, it's almost like more true to the Star Wars universe during the Galactic Civil War. I got this big galactic empire Leviathan that I have going, and the rebels are just like picking at me in these little battles. And every now and then you get a big fleet battle with them. But to me, it's just kind of funny. Anyway, my fleet goes up here, and I get to avenge myself on the rebels who just attacked Jabim. So we're going to teach them a little humility and letting them know that they might ought to beware of the power of the Empire. It might come back to bite them in the butt. I didn't set one of my ships to be the lead-in, so it brings in a bunch of these fighter units for me that I probably don't need. I'm just going to send my interceptors out to kind of do the hunt for enemies mode, which is a good way to just go out and get a view of what's out there. They're kind of expendable units, and you might kill a few rebel fighters. I'm going to trap the rebels here and put a missile jamming field up too with the interdictor cruiser, and I'm going to move my Star Destroyers up to kind of flank that interdictor cruiser. Star Destroyers have sometimes weird pathfinding. So, a lot of capital ships do in this game anyway, and that one was doing weird stuff for me, so it was getting frustrating. Anyway, you can see my Star Destroyer over there engaging a Nebulon B frigate. That won't be any challenge for him. These Imperial Star Destroyers are definitely a firepower and shielding match to the assault frigates or the Nebulon B frigates. The smaller Star Destroyers like the Acclamator and the Victory Cruisers, not so much. They can actually get outgunned by the Rebel frigates, but the Imperial Star Destroyers have stronger shields, and they appear to have more firepower on them too, because they do a pretty good job actually of tearing up Rebel ships. Good to see that, because I mean you would expect from what you know in the Star Wars universe that you would have difficulty going toe-to-toe with an Imperial Star Destroyer with anything less than another Imperial Star Destroyer. So anyway, we get a nice little quick victory there over Jabim, and we're going to secure it. The problem is that I had to move that fleet from Ilum, which only has a level 1 space station, so we're at a bit of risk there, so I'll have to bring reinforcements back over. We're going to need to rebuild the space station here too. We'll see if I remember to do that. I'm trying to get this army out of here, and yep, I do remember. Get the space station. Gonna put a few soldiers on the ground, because the rebels can kind of do that like insertion where they insert a few units straight to the planet. They can bypass the space battle. It's pretty dangerous if you don't have a very good ground force. The rebels can take planets away from you and destroy your space station with a few well-placed units and well-thought-out strategies. I'm pointing out there that I need to take Karita and Manan. Both those planets will basically get the rebels out from behind me. The Zan Consortium doesn't have many planets left either, so we should be getting close, and they're not really corrupting me or anything else anymore because they're probably not making any money. I do still have a few planets with corruption, like Frisia down there has it. Fresia, it's the corrupt militia, which is why I haven't removed it. And I'm just not going crazy about removing corruption at this point because I don't think the Zan Consortium can afford to do a lot of attacks. I'm going to go ahead and hit Alzoc 3 here on the ground. But we got a space battle over Nal Hutta. It's going to be a pretty big space battle, actually. So I do have 6 Imperial Star Destroyers here, which is good. But we also have a pretty sizable Rebel fleet. The only danger that I really face here is A-Wing spam. You wouldn't think that would be a problem for Star Destroyers, but it can be. The concentrated fire of a lot of A-Wings can puncture the shields on a Star Destroyer, and the turbo lasers just don't hit fighters enough to fight off the A-Wings. So you will get several waves of TIE interceptors spawning from the hangar of your Star Destroyer, but I don't have any backup fighters, and the Rebels have indeed spammed fighters here, and it's going to be a bit dangerous for me, so I'm going to try and move up and capture those platforms. And if I can capture the platforms, I can build missile platforms that will help take out the Rebel fighters, even if I lose all my interceptors, which I will eventually. So this is going to be a way for me to try and take control of this. I need to get rid of any Y-Wings that are around too, and there are some inbound on one of my Star Destroyers already. I thought I saw some, I don't now. And there's a Corellian gunboat over there too, which is dangerous to my fighters. There's the Y-Wings. So I'm gonna bring Group 1 up here, which is my interceptors, and we're gonna take out these Y-Wings before they can damage my Star Destroyer too badly. They are gonna get a torpedo run on it. They did not get the hard point, fortunately. Those Corellian gunboats can actually shoot through your shields too. They're not particularly powerful, but if there's enough of them, they can be pretty irritating. They don't have super long range like a Marauder cruiser, but their missiles are still pretty handy, and they'll kill a lot of your fighters too. So the Corellian gunboat can definitely be a handy unit for the rebels. You can see me here trying to build up these satellites, like the defense satellites. I'm going to get one of them built, but this A-wing is going to come in and attack it immediately and destroy it, which sucks for me, because now I have to wait for the platform to come back. So far the rebels actually having, potentially going to cause me some grief here. Like I said, if it comes down to a horde of A-wings versus my Star Destroyers, it's not going to be good. It really won't. Like I said, I need to get more fighters trained over at the Maw, and I don't need to use them in every battle, but it's good to keep like a gaggle of fighters around if you're going to end up with some Star Destroyers like this, so that you don't just have to watch your Star Destroyers get mopped up by snub fighters. It's pretty infuriating. I could bring in another Imperial Star Destroyer too at this point. I haven't realized that the population is at 16 rather than 20, and I probably should go ahead and drop another Star Destroyer in for the extra fighter support, but I'm not going to notice it for a little while longer, just due to bad situational awareness. Now, I do get one missile platform up, and it's going to start killing quite a few rebel fighters, and I'm trying to use my bombers to go after their frigates, and I'm going to try and rebuild that platform as well. And now I've kind of got my Star Destroyers positioned around the platforms so that it can provide them anti-fighter cover. So I'm going to pull this guy back closer to the platform as well. Just getting rid of that Corellian gunboat over there. The tractor beams are handy at helping to get rid of those things because they can run away pretty fast too. I was trying to build the platform with my bombers, but I have an X-Wing squadron back there that's giving me a hard time. So yeah, I'm going to keep moving my Star Destroyers around. Eventually I'm going to get them all back closer to the satellites so that I can basically use them for protection. And sure enough, I do lose all my interceptors eventually, and I do end up facing an A-Wing swarm. Yeah, you can see that A-Wing making an attack run. One of them doesn't really do anything to the shields on the Star Destroyer, but trust me, get 6, 7, 8 of them, they can punch through your Star Destroyer shields much faster than you'd think. B-Wings are crazy good at it. Now, of course, they're actually dedicated bombers, but B-Wings they're my favorite bomber in the game. They are good. The A-Wings are probably the best anti-fighter craft, too, for me. At least I think they are. They're fast, they've got good shields, very nice in a dogfight. I don't know how they stand up to Star Viper fighters. They seem to do well for me, but I mean, Star Vipers are pretty good, too, for the Consortium. Big surprise, the Consortium's unit is pretty good. So I've got platform support now, so you're going to see more missiles coming out, and it's going to really help protect my Star Destroyers and help start to take out A-Wings. This goes on for quite some time. It doesn't really change much, so I'm going to skip ahead and just kind of show you where it ends up at. So as you can see now, I have hardly any fighters left. I do have the 5 Star Destroyers up, but the platforms are really the only thing that are keeping the A-Wings off me. I do have a few more interceptors still at this point, but I mean, the A-Wings are very superior to the interceptors in a dogfight, and it is just nothing but A-Wings. It is just like a crazy hectic fight with all the A-Wings. I keep trying to rebuild platforms, and I do believe I am able to. 5 Star Destroyers just firing turbo lasers frantically into space, trying to hit all these A-Wings. I think the A-Wings might have... No, they didn't kill one of my Star Destroyers, actually. And I think they knocked the shields on one out earlier, though. And I have had A-Wings kill my Star Destroyers before, whenever I didn't have any cover left for them. It can happen. Like, you can see those A-Wings up there just jacking up my interceptors. The interceptors are unshielded. They're fast, they come in good numbers, but I mean, the no shields, they are just, they get hurt pretty bad by the A-Wings. So I got another missile platform up. I've got 2 healthy platforms. They're going to do a lot of damage to the A-Wings in the vicinity, which is good, because the A-Wings are easily mopping up my fighters. And now you can see them kind of swarming like ants, and that's when they start to get dangerous to your Star Destroyer. So, and then they're actually dangerous to your space station too. Look, a few of them start making attack runs on my space station. More Y-Wings just popped back up now that I don't have any interceptors, so now it starts getting dangerous for me. The Y-Wings have hit some hard points on one of my destroyers. Just look at the Rebel fighter spam here. I'm using my turrets trying to hit these Y-Wings before they can do more proton damage. And I am going to actually get them taken care of, but I mean, you can see the A-Wings just furiously killing my fighters. they have killed a lot of fighters. But fortunately, fighters for the Empire just spawn out of your hangar bays unless you train dedicated ones like the Defenders or the Phantoms. So you don't have to retrain them, which is nice. The Rebels actually have to spend quite a bit of time training fighters, but they also get access to what I think are the best fighters in the game, and that's kind of a cool feature for the Rebels to have, to be honest, because in the movies, as always, what you see Luke Skywalker flying his fighter, or Wedge Antilles, or the others, so it's kind of cool to see that in some ways that this game kind of at least shows some semblance to the movies. I'm sure it's not perfect, but it is fun. So yeah, I am getting the Y-Wings now, and we're starting to cut down some A-Wings with the missile launchers. So I'm going to be able to secure my Star Destroyer fleet here and finish off the Rebel A-Wing swarm. I'm going to go ahead and skip forward just a smidge more too. There was the end of the battle. And we'll hop back out to the galactic map. That ship isn't going to escape. The only thing that's going to escape is a few other A-Wings. The frigates they still had there had their engines destroyed, so they did not escape. So a pretty furious fight there with the Rebels. It doesn't show you how many fighters you kill either. I guess it's some kind of glitch, unfortunately. But we maintain control of space over Nal Hutta. I just need to get an army back down there to take control of it again. I'm going to move some destroyers over to Kashyyyk because Kuat has a big enough space station to defend it. And I'm continually training more Star Destroyers. Here I'm putting together that little secondary army, and I'm going to have the Emperor lead it, and I'm going to go try and take Nal Hutta with it. Now, it does not have any heavy units, so I'm still going to have to be careful. It could be dangerous. Anyway, I'm going to go over here to Camino and train up some some more troopers and stuff too. Or at least I thought it was. Never mind. Just going to go back and rebuild what got destroyed. So, yep. Thinking about whether or not I should attack the ground on Nal Hutta. Whether or not I have enough troops certainly concerns me as to whether or not I do. Looks like I decided against. I'm going to go up here to Alzoc 3 and potentially attack it on the ground. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So here we go. We'll hit Alzoc 3. I'm going to bump forward just a bit. So I've got my guys on the ground here. And got my 3 AT-ATs. I got a couple of Dark Trooper P3s. And then some TIE Lancets. And really what I'm thinking to do here is I'll use the AT-ATs to do all the heavy hitting. They're great at it. AT-ATs are probably one of my favorite ground units, not just because they're iconic, but just because they're pretty good against most things that you're going to meet on the ground. They're slow. That's going to be the downside. But they're pretty strong. There's not too many units in the game that are quite good versus them. I've got the Lancets because I'm going to fly them one at a time and go try and find Rebel buildings to hit with a bombing run or an orbital bombardment. And part of the reason I want to do that is because if I go one at a time with the Lancets, if they have an anti-air turret, it only kills one Lancet, and then I won't lose the whole squadron and have to retrain it out on the galactic map. So you're going to see me fast forward waiting on my orbital bombardment to charge up. Between the bombing run and the orbital bombardment, you can kill two buildings pretty fast if you use them right, in conjunction with the TIE Lancet. And the TIE Lancet is kind of like a flying artillery vehicle. They can be pretty handy, especially when units don't possess the ability to attack. These Ewok handlers, it says they're good against infantry, but that guy didn't do anything. He just got smoked by all my stormtroopers. So yeah, I don't really know what exactly the Ewok handlers do. Like I said, I think they're supposed to be strong against infantry. I've got this mercenary outfitter doing some upgrades at my guys, and I'm going to use these stormtroopers to go up here and try and capture that capture point from the Zan Consortium. Now the problem with the Consortium and bombing runs is that they have shields, and most of their buildings can survive a bombing run because of the shields. Leave it to the Zan Consortium to have something ridiculous like that. But the orbital bombardment will smash Zan Consortium buildings, and that's why I'm kind of being patient and waiting on it. More Ewok handlers. Just ends up getting smoked. I guess he has little Ewoks in the bag. I mean, does he let them out or something? Like, I haven't seen those units actually do anything yet at this point. He kind of, like, the little guy kind of looks like the dude from Jabba the Hutt's palace, like the big dude who was all upset whenever the Rancor got killed. But he has like a bag of Ewoks or something. I don't know. Maybe he gives them rabies or other diseases and unleashes the Ewoks on your men whenever they get close to combat or something. Starves them. Gets them all diseased and stuff. Diseased Ewok bites. Carry the plague maybe or something. So I'm going to hurry and fly past that building because a lot of times, like that turret right there is hitting me with fire. So I've got to quickly get out of its range, and I'm just kind of assessing the situation up here. So I find some buildings. And I'm going to come over here and use the orbital bombardment there. And I'm going to lose this Lancet. Yeah, I lose that Lancet, but I get the bombardment off, so I'm going to destroy a barracks and whatever guys are there. So that's going to slow down any Zan resistance that we find here. And then I can get another Lancet up and go look for a target as far as the bombing run goes. But I know my bombing run won't destroy that palace. It'll take more than that. So more or less, I think I decided that I was going to wait to try and get my bombardment back, and I was just going to move Group 2 forward. And I'm thinking, yeah, okay, I started to bring in some Dark Troopers. These P2s are pretty good against the Consortium because they're good against Droidicas. And they're not good against some of the heavier tanks and stuff the Consortium might throw at you, but I don't expect a lot of that at this point because the Consortium doesn't have any of its super productive planets anymore. I've hit them pretty hard. They've taken some pretty grievous losses. And I'm not talking about General Grievous either. That'd be kind of cool if like the Zan Consortium like resurrected General Grievous and brought him back as one of the heroes maybe. I mean, they already get everything OP, so might as well give them General Grievous or something. Or if they had battle droids. Maybe it would have been cooler rather than having the Zan Consortium to have had like this fictional like resurgence of the Confederacy or whatever, you know, they come back with battle droids. I know it's not in the Star Wars canon, but that might have been fun in order to have like a third faction, have the battle droids and other stuff to fight against. Because I mean, having the Stormtroopers in the Galactic Empire era is pretty close to having the clones from the Republic era. Not exactly the same, I know some of the stuff was different, but still pretty close. So I'm going to bring the Dark Troopers up, let them find some targets. There's another barracks right there, so I'm going to let my Dark Troopers take care of it. The Dark Troopers have a deploy mode where they fire rockets, and they're pretty good against buildings and aircraft and other stuff like that. They go ahead and deploy and let them use their rockets to help finish off this barracks. My AT-ATs are going to give some supporting fire too. And then my P2 Dark Troopers are over here pushing forward, killing some Consortium Grenadiers and other infantry that they meet along the way. And now we can basically just move everything in on the palace.
Reporting. I am en route.
Bring my Dark Troopers up there as well. So yeah, we pretty moderate resistance here on this planet. It wasn't too bad. The Zan Consortium can certainly put up some nasty fights in the right scenario. This was not one of those scenarios. Plus the AT-ATs definitely give you the staying and firepower that you need to help, you know, take control of a land battle. It's definitely a useful unit for the Empire. Otherwise, a lot of the Imperial units on the ground are not particularly impressive. Really, the AT-AT is probably one of their saving graces. Even the units that are fairly good against it doesn't, I mean, there's nothing that kind of like instant kills them like there is for a lot of other units. Well, there's not instant kills for other units, but you all know what I mean. There's a lot of units that seem to do pretty well. I got some TIE bombers coming in to bomb that bunker, and then I'm going to send my AT-ATs after that turret, and this is pretty much going to be it for the Zan Consortium. So the TIE bombers make their run, blast the guys out of that bunker, and my guys are going to finish them off at this point. There was another Ewok handler there, but my Dark Troopers are going to mess those guys up pretty bad with their heavy turrets there. So yeah, just a couple of Zan Consortium guys left, so this guy's going to try and run off to the back of the map, but he's going to get caught. Pretty much nowhere to run for the Consortium. It's nice to see them back on their heels after being such pest in both of the campaigns that I played on here. Extreme pest. So, there we go, we've taken Alzoc 3, and that's getting pretty close to the end of the video here. I'm just going to take care of a couple other little administrative things before I leave, get ready to attack Nalhutta with the Emperor. I am a little bit worried, though, about his capabilities. The Emperor's quite good, but some of the other units I have with him are pretty squishy. I find that the Nogri assassins are good. You can make them invisible, and if you can get them close enough to an enemy base, they can spot stuff for like a bombardment or a bombing run. But I'm a little worried because the Rebels have the artillery here, and none of the units I have are great versus the artillery. So it is a little bit worrisome for me. I do have a couple of Dark Troopers, which would be handy, and you know, I'll try and use them to help me out, but I can't deploy that many men here. So I'm gonna get some Nogri assassins and some Dark Troopers down on the ground here. I'm gonna skip ahead just a smidge, or no, went a little too far, my bad. Guess we shouldn't skip ahead. So yeah, there'll be a whole bunch of huts native to the planet. They're not very good, but they'll just kind of keep coming and coming unless you destroy their little slime shacks where they live. So I'm going to go ahead and move up and try and build some turrets to keep the huts from getting back into my spawn. You can see some of them waddling around in the swamp there. I guess doing what huts do best, which is leaving slime trails everywhere they go. I see these artillery pieces are a little bit... they're basically the only thing the rebels still have here, so I'm going to jetpack my dart troopers over there. That's their special ability, and you do have to be careful with it. If the enemy has anti-air turrets or anti-air weapons, they can shoot your dart troopers down like they're an air vehicle, so it's a bit risky. But these guys are good against artillery. You can see that the artillery doesn't affect them much as far as damage goes, and they're very good at killing the artillery pretty quickly. A couple volleys from the repeating blaster, and it's pretty much GG for the artillery. My other dart trooper's having trouble spotting a landing zone, apparently. He's hovering around. There he comes down finally. So we're going to blast up this artillery. And once we kill it, that's actually it. We don't have to kill all the huts. So able to retake control of Now Hutta again, and I'll build it up. Hope you all enjoyed this video. Star Wars videos, I'll keep making them. And we're going to take over the Empire here, and then eventually, once I'm done with this one, I'll let you all decide whether or not you want to see me go after the Rebel campaign again. I could maybe play one and get close to where I was before, and then replay it from there and call it finished. I could potentially try a mod on here, or I could just try a different game altogether if that's what you all are interested in. HeirofCarthage signing off for now. I'll see you back next time.